but every receiver plays a role on this team. They're awesome at their roles, but I just don't think that those two players are what we wanted in Jalen Waddle. Like, tell me, if we really think that those guys are as good as you think they are, then why was this team aggressively pursuing Stephon Diggs and Jalen Waddle? Please tell me. Welcome back to the Broncos Avenue podcast, your home for all the latest Denver Broncos news and rumors. I'm your host, Amir Farrell. The Denver Broncos just got linked to an emerging sleeper at the running back position, and we're also linked to a not-so-emerging sleeper, but well-established and respected veteran who can provide some needed help to Denver's wide receiver room. All that and more. Hope you guys, wherever you guys are listening today or watching this episode, hope you guys are having an excellent morning, evening, or night whenever you guys are listening to the show. So thank you for staying tuned. We upload daily episodes of the Broncos Avenue podcast covering, like I said, all the latest Denver Broncos news and rumors. So be sure to leave a sub, like, all that, greatly appreciated. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to @DenverDMark on Twitter, who actually inspired this episode and sparked the idea. He mentioned he proposed the idea that the Broncos should sign running back Damien Martinez off the Seattle Seahawks practice squad, which he actually isn't on the practice squad. But this proposal is an interesting one because the Broncos are without J.K. Dobbins, who obviously they lost for the season on IR. If the Broncos do make the Super Bowl, which if you didn't watch our last episode, I think is a very, very likely possibility. I definitely think he could be potentially returning to the Broncos in February in the Super Bowl, maybe against the Rams, Eagles. We'll see who that'll be. But with losing him, the Broncos could actually benefit from having a guy like Damien Martinez on their roster. If you don't know who Damien Martinez is, he was a 7th-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft this year. He's already been cut 3 times. Didn't have the greatest training camp and OTAs preseason by any means, but I think there's a lot of promising skill traits to be excited about with him potentially coming to Denver. Very tough downhill runner, hard to bring down, impressive jump cut ability. That was the one that really stood out to me on film. His jump cut ability for being someone who's 6 feet tall and 217 pounds. Had 1,000 yards his last year at Miami. He's also just 21 years old. He doesn't turn 22 until the last day of January in 2026. So just 21 years old. He's got that bruising run style that Sean Payton was hoping for when he drafted Audric Estime. This could be that player that maybe Sean Payton was hoping for when he drafted Audric Estime, right? I mean, he's got the vision. He's got that size. May not be as small as the Audric Estime or RJ Harvey being, 5'8", 5'9", but he's 6 feet tall. And guys like that, they're usually harder to bring down, right? I mean, he may not have the speed of an RJ Harvey, but where you want that speed at the position, you already have that in Harvey, like I said. So you're not necessarily looking for another speedster. With losing J.K. Dobbins, you're looking for someone who with that good contact balance, with that good vision. And I'm not saying Damien Martinez. Look, by any means, I don't think Martinez is anywhere close to the skill level of J.K. Dobbins. I've said numerous times I think J.K. Dobbins is and was a top 5 running back in the NFL this season. He showed that through his statistics and film, obviously. But I think this is someone where you could take a flyer on, and maybe potentially he could be your not second stringer. You could be your solidified third stringer. Maybe you can leap Bidet. I mean, as a GM and a talent evaluator, you're always looking for upgrades at every position, and you're always looking for younger players as well. J.K. Dobbins is not going to be here forever. Yes, I would love, and I do think he will sign a 2-year deal. J.K. Dobbins will sign a 2-year deal with this team in the offseason, but anything's possible. And I think bringing in an insurance option like Martinez, at the very least signing him to the practice squad, how does it hurt anything? I think he's a free agent right now at 21 years old, already been cut 3 times by the Seahawks. Why not just take a flyer and sign him to the practice squad? I think right now you only have Blake Watson, if I'm not mistaken. We signed him to the practice squad. So I definitely would like to see them add another back like Martinez to the practice squad. So a shout out to Denver DMark on Twitter for proposing that idea. I'm very shocked that Martinez is still a free agent. Like I said, just bruising, tall, promising, emerging athlete like him. I think if it's not going to be Denver, it's going to be somewhere else pretty soon. I would expect. I think there's a lot of promising skill traits there. And speaking of the Broncos being linked to players, this one not so as young. He's in his 30s. Brandin Cooks demanded his release from the New Orleans Saints and was granted that release on Wednesday. Um, I posted about him potentially coming to the Broncos in 2023. I really wanted it to happen in 2023 when we hired Sean Payton, and he actually liked that post on Instagram. So there clearly is, on at least on his side, some very strong interest in playing for Sean Payton again. Obviously, if you don't know, he played for Sean Payton in New Orleans very early in his career. Obviously, he's played for a handful of teams since then: Patriots, Texans, went back to the Saints, Cowboys. I'm sure I'm missing at least two more teams. He's played for a lot of teams since then. Um, I think this is another one where I just don't see like the downside in making this move. He's obviously not going to expect much at all in the market. He's probably going to sign for a vet minimum. He sees his team 9-2, one of the best defenses already in NFL history. They have the strong potential to go to the Super Bowl this year. Why not just ring chase? At least on his part, I would not be surprised at all if he's licking his chops at the Broncos in free agency. Although I don't know if Sean Payton would want to bring him in. I understand for anyone who thinks that it would be a no-brainer just in terms of veteran leadership, but I think Sean knows we already have that, and Cortland Sutton, excuse me, and I think he definitely sees a leader building in Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin. I mean, dude, you look at his numbers side by side to Cortland Sutton the last like 6+ weeks. He literally has better numbers than Cortland Sutton aside from like maybe two categories. He has more targets. He has just under Cortland Sutton's yards on the year. Cortland Sutton has like 600 something yards this year. Troy Franklin's like the mid 500s. He's catching up to him, and he's on the trajectory to have more yards than Sutton this year. That's just wow. I love Troy Franklin a lot coming to this year. I'm glad that takes aging very well. Um, and you have Pat Bryant there, who's the best run blocker on this team. Um, I I don't know that Sean Payton will make this move. I don't think he personally will. That may come as a surprise to some, just because everyone thinks that I saw after Brandin Cooks was linked to Denver on Twitter, a lot of people were like, "You already know Sean Payton's cooking something up. You already know exactly where Brandin Cooks is going." The Broncos are just the New Orleans Saints magnet once they become available via trade or release. Um, I don't know. I actually don't think we make this move. I don't. I understand that we were very strong suitors for Jalen Waddle. Ian Rappaport reported on NFL Network literally like a week or two ago that we were the finalists for Stephon Diggs with the Patriots, and the Patriots, obviously, as everyone knows, got him. And I think they're making it very focal that they want a true dominant, explosive, game-changing wide receiver one. Cortland Sutton's he's definitely the wide receiver one on this team still, even ahead of Troy Franklin. Although it looks like that is slowly starting to slip away, given Bo's trust and chemistry with Troy Franklin. I do think that he is not by any means a wide receiver one as a playmaker. He's a great blocker, reliable for the most part, has some drops here and there. Bo, unfortunately, has one of the most unreliable receiver rooms in terms of drops. But just as a playmaker, I don't think he's as as dominant as a Troy Franklin and the potential of Pat Bryant. I think Pat Bryant can even be a better playmaker than Cortland Sutton. Um, Cortland Sutton is just one of those back shoulder possession receivers and contested catch receivers who's just so reliable in that aspect. But he's not someone who's gonna consistently route you up across the middle of the field, downfield, burn you. When's the last time? Now that I'm thinking of it, when's the last time Cortland Sutton just ran a go ball and like it burned a receiver? Like, for anyone who thinks Cortland Sutton is a dominant wide receiver one for years to come and is on the level of an Emeka Egbuka, um, um, a Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CD Lamb. I could literally name like 10 more, 15 more receivers. For anyone who thinks he's on that level, just in terms of being able to take over a game, I urge you to please pull up a clip of the last time Cortland Sutton like actually like multiple times a game, even just one time a game, burned someone down the field on a go route and like cooked them. It's usually those back shoulders and contested catches that he's actually able to do his work. And I just don't know if that's going to be sustainable for too much long. That's why Bo Nix is giving the ball to Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin a lot more because they separate. They do what a receiver's supposed to do. They get separation. And in no way, I don't want to make this seem like in any way I'm trying to discredit Cortland Sutton. I'm just saying, in terms of what we need to do to help Bo build more, is add another separator. I think Brandin Cooks would be beneficial here. I just don't think Sean would do that just because Pat Bryant is already on the come up. He deserves more snaps. We need to get him more in this offense. He is so talented at separating, and his release is unbelievable, as well as Troy Franklin. Like, there were some snaps we've seen. It was that 32-yard game winner against the Chiefs a couple days ago. Release off the line, boom, just burns Jalen Watson. 32 yards, game-winning field goal, gone just like that. I mean, I don't think Cortland Sutton's doing stuff like that. He's not burning someone like that. So, if me personally, I wouldn't hate getting Brandin Cooks. I just think this team, if they're gonna get a receiver, I feel like they want to go big. They showed that with Jalen Waddle, who they came up with short before the trade deadline, and they showed that with Stephon Diggs, who obviously Stephon Diggs is still, in my opinion, a top 5, maybe top 3 route runner in the NFL. They clearly still really, really want an alpha wide receiver one, and I think they're giving Troy Franklin the opportunity to show himself to be that. But he has shown some inconsistencies. I would like to see them maybe dip their hands in early rounds again this year at receiver. And look, I still like Marvin Mims too. Like, someone's probably sitting there like, Amir, why is Marvin Mims not coming out of your mouth right now? I like Marvin Mims. I just don't view him any more than an elite punt returner at that, a superstar punt returner, and a gadget receiver. He'll burn you over the top of the defense. He helps stretch the field. That's awesome. But I don't know. We just don't see that like ability to be explosive and take over a game and route a defense up, sit in the zone, be an electric receiver over the middle of the field like we see out of a Jalen Waddle. Like, my comp for Mims coming out of this is honestly, I look back at it and I kind of cringe, but my comp for Mims coming out of Oklahoma was Jalen Waddle when we drafted him. That's who I thought we were getting out of Marvin Mims, and he just hasn't been that. And that's fine. Like, every receiver on this team plays a role. I know someone's getting ready to type in the comments, Amir, you're shitting on Marvin Mims and Cortland Sutton. They've been our most consistent receivers. Without them, this team is not as good. They're not a 9-2 team. Dude, I get it. But every receiver plays a role in this team. They're awesome at their roles. But I just don't think that those two players are what we wanted in Jalen Waddle. Like, tell me, if we really think that those guys are as good as you think they are, then why was this team aggressively pursuing Stephon Diggs and Jalen Waddle? Please tell me. So, That's where I stand on the wide receiver room. I think Pat Bryant could be that for us. I really do. I think Troy Franklin could be that for us. So I'm really excited. This is a good problem we have on our hands. We don't really know who's going to be that guy for us. It's looking like it could be Troy Franklin. It's looking like it could be Pat Bryant. I don't think it will by any means be Marvin Mims. And Cortland Sutton, I don't know. I just think his production is going to slowly start to take a dip over the next couple of years. I still think he'll put up 1,000 yards this year. I just don't think he's ever going to be that 1,300, 1,400 yard receiver that Sean Payton and George Payton are looking for. Um, Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll eat crow. I just don't. He's having easily top 3 best seasons of his career, production wise, and that's not hard to do when you have Bo Nix, who's literally our best quarterback since Peyton Manning. But I think I just don't see that what we see in these very young dominant receivers. I don't see that in Cortland Sutton anymore. And like I said, just for the 374th time, there's nothing wrong with that. Every receiver plays a role on this team. Cortland Sutton got the torch passed down from Demaryius Thomas, and I will forever give him the mile high salute for that. I love Cortland Sutton to death. I'm very, very grateful, and he's going nowhere. He's gonna retire Broncos. So let me make that very focal. But yeah, I kind of just went on a complete ramble after this Brandin Cooks news. But let me know down in the comments, would you guys want Brandin Cooks in a Denver Broncos uniform? Could this be the missing piece to help us chase the Super Bowl? I know it's a little bit late in his career, but I think he has something to offer on this team. I really do. And I think it's one of those low risk, high reward type signings. It's going to be a very cheap contract if it does happen. And I will expect him to sign at the latest by Monday. I think he's definitely someone who a lot of teams are looking at right now. And I would definitely expect Sean Payton to be looking at him. And let me know what you think about the possibility of adding Damien Martinez to the running back room at the practice squad at least. Let me know down in the comments below. All your comments are greatly appreciated. The more you comment helps us push out into the YouTube suggested feed. With that being said, I'm your host, Amir Farrell. I will see you guys in the next episode of the Broncos Avenue podcast. Peace out, everybody.